Hello everyone and welcome back to another Essential Album video. We're now on week 19 and this week we're taking a look at Elephant by the White Stripes. So first released April 1st, 2003. Some notable tracks on this album include Seven Nation Army, The Hardest Button to Button, Ball and Biscuit, and In the Cold Cold Night. I have some notes here about this. We'll get through those and then we'll get to the track list and all that. We actually pull this open here. I can actually get to the notebook. There we go. So not plural. Elephant by the White Stripes, again, April 1st, 2003 when this was released. This is their fourth studio album. I think following White Blood Cells was right before this, like a couple years before. White Blood Cells and this are like my top two. They kind of rotate positions. Sometimes I like Elephant more. Sometimes I like White Blood Cells more. Both excellent albums from them. Easily my two favorite albums. But for this series, I decided to go with Elephant because Seven Nation Army is on this one, and that song is just an absolute banger. Absolutely love Seven Nation Army. It's just a great track. So again, their fourth studio album. Cool thing with this that I didn't know this before doing the research for this video is Jack White recorded this entire album basically on really old recording equipment. So no computers were used to record. They basically apparently used an 8-track machine that was duct taped. I don't know exactly how they managed that, but an 8-track or a duct taped 8-track machine, and basically nothing newer as far as equipment. Newer than 1963. So basically all kind of just types of antiquated recording equipment. So just a really cool kind of concept to record it in a more old school kind of way. See, apparently the sound on Seven Nation Army was actually achieved by taking a semi-acoustic guitar. So probably an acoustic guitar that has a pickup in it or something, because you can basically install a pickup into an acoustic guitar to allow it to be amplified. It's still acoustic, but it's amplified at least. So they used that kind of guitar. They apparently used a whammy pedal, connected that to it, and did an octave shift, and that kind of is what gives Seven Nation Army that sound that it has in that particular song. It's interesting on this album because this is the first time I think that Meg White, the drummer, took lead vocals, and she did the lead vocals on In the Cold Cold Night. Most of the time that she was doing vocals, it was all backing vocals, that kind of thing. So interesting, really cool that she ended up taking the lead vocals on this particular track here. Kind of the vibes on this album are garage rock. I categorize it under rock in general, but it's more garage rock, very kind of DIY. In doing my research for this, it reminded me a lot of Wasting Light by the Foo Fighters, where they recorded that stuff in Dave Grohl's garage, basically, using tape, nothing digital. So I remember in an interview where Butch Vig said he was bringing some computers in, and Dave Grohl's don't bring those computers in here. Sorry, excuse me. So basically, all just very DIY, very garage rock style. We're going to kind of go on a segue here. The reason I ended up doing this album is back last Thursday, I went to a Jack White concert. It was awesome. He played here, I want to say, last fall, but it was a pop-up show that basically sold out instantly. So I wasn't able to go to that one. But this was at a fairly large venue. Had a great opener, a local opening band, which was really cool. And then Jack White came out and basically played for an hour and a half. That's not an incredibly long show necessarily, but he did it without any kind of crowd banter. He said hello to the crowd once or twice, but didn't really waste a lot of time talking. It was just basically from start to finish, just him shredding on his guitar, playing a lot of this stuff off of No Name. I talked about that album in the last year series. The album he dropped, kind of surprise dropped back in August of last year. It's a great album. He, of course, did some White Stripes stuff. and I think played some stuff from the Raconteurs, like Steady as She Goes. But it was basically two sets, like a main set and a smaller encore set. And they, of course, closed out with Seven Nation Army, and it was just amazing to see that live. We weren't like right on the stage; we were maybe like 5 rows back in like kind of like a general admission style venue. But he absolutely just crushed it the entire time. Just an amazing guitarist, amazing singer. Um, Kind of like just like has like the stamina to go for. I think he's like almost like 50, I think, and he's just like up there shredding basically nonstop for the entire show. But went to that before going to the show, re-listened to No Name, and then also re-listened to Elephants. That's kind of why we're here. Let me bring up the reviews here, and then we'll get to our track listing. Let me just pull down to see the reviews. All right, here we are. We should have those up in just a moment. All right, so really good reviews overall. So Metacritic has it at a 92 out of 100, while AllMusic has it at a 5 out of 5. Entertainment Weekly has it at a B. The Guardian has it at a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 4 from the LA Times. NME has it at a 9 out of 10. Pitchfork has it at looks like a 6.9 out of 10. Kind of not surprising with Pitchfork. They kind of are very kind of strict on their reviews, I think. Q has it at a 4 out of 5. 5 out of 5 from Rolling Stone. An A from Spin, and a 5 out of 5 from Uncut. We're now going to go into our track list here. So it's 14 tracks, and it comes in at about 49 minutes and 55 seconds. And they start off guns a-blazing with Seven Nation Army track 1. Kind of, I like the way that like kind of there was a joke in one of the old Guitar Hero games. During like a loading screen, it was like first song on the album, last song in the set. Like usually your most popular song you do is your last song in your encore. It's kind of how Jack White did it here. So Seven Nation Army right out of the gate, track 1, and then obviously close the show out with it. So but Seven Nation Army, just amazing track there. Actually learned how to play a little bit of that on like a piano at some point. Just pretty basic little riff there. But that's kind of the great thing with Jack White is like a lot of this stuff is kind of like basic, but he just goes hard on it and like it makes it awesome. So like there's nothing wrong with like having it be like scaled back or like simpler because he's just crushing it. Anyway, track 2 is Black Math. Track 3 is There's No Home for You Here. That's a great one. Love that one. Track 4 is I Just Don't Know What to Do with Myself. Track 5 is In the Cold, Cold Night. And like I said earlier in the video, first track I think that Meg White did lead vocals on. Track 6 is I Want to Be the Boy to Warm Your Mother's Heart. Track 7 is Track 7 is You've Got Her in Your Pocket. Track 8 is Ball and Biscuit. Track 9 is The Hardest Button to Button. I kind of knew that one initially because I didn't listen to the album right when it came out. But I remember, I think The Hardest Button to Button was in Guitar Hero or Rock Band, or one of those two games. Probably appeared in both at some point. Anyway, so that was track 9. Track 10 is Little Acorns. Track 11 is Hypnotize. Track 12 is The Air Near My Fingers. Track 13 is Girl You Have No Faith in Medicine. And track 14, closing it out, is Well It's True That We Love One Another. So again, 14 tracks for about 50 minutes almost of music, and definitely like one of their best albums. Like, in my opinion, probably like I said, it occupies either the number 1 or number 2 spot. It kind of switches and changes out with White Blood Cells every so often. But this is the one I listened to most recently to kind of get ready for that concert. Same with No Name. And just an amazing album, and that concert was just incredible. But that is going to do it for this video. We'll be back in a week with a whole new album. No idea what that's going to be, but we'll be back in a week with that. So thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.